modest proposal that the Holborn police station which has this 50-metre kind of 13-storey skyscraper right in the heart of Holborn on Theobald's Road, that this is being decommissioned and turned into a memorial to the 1,534 people who have died in contact with the police in the UK since 1990. It's a satire. The genesis of the story, I was doing a residency at King's College London, working in a loose collaboration with a British artist called Stuart Brisley, who many people in the room will know, performance artist. And in the 80s, Stuart Brisley and his collaborator, Maya Baljulu, made a piece of work called the Cenotaph Project, which came out of another residency when Stuart Brisley was artist in residence at the Imperial War Museum, and came across Lutchin's original designs for the cenotaph, which was a performance prop. It was made of canvas and wood, and it was just a prop for a parade that would pass down Whitehall. And Stuart Brisley, his response to this was to make a kind of portable cenotaph, the scale of a wardrobe that could be assembled in a council flat. And they made a number of these and cited them in council flats around the country and used them to generate discussion rather than a kind of mute observance. And we got hold of the last of these, the last surviving of these wooden cenotaphs that Stuart Brisley made in the 80s, and installed it in the chapel in King's College London. And what struck me about this was, here we have a sort of portable cenotaph, and to me it seemed to be not so much about where it was sited as which particular domestic atrocity did we want to commemorate, and so the story came out of that, and it's delivered as a speech. As if sort of by Theresa May speaking to the Association of Chief Police Officers or something. It sounds a bit like a satire, but it starts like a satirical story, but real life kind of is kind of hurtling towards us like a train in a tunnel, and it becomes an act of protest and memorial in its own right. And a list of names of people killed by the police or who've died in contact with the police, and it's this kind of collision between fiction and place and the real, where a story, the kind of narrative velocity of a story, the fictional status of a story falls away and is replaced by a kind of political and historical velocity that's kind of rooted in, not in Holborn, but wherever we are now performing this story.
Can I link that to just asking Simon something? With David, who you knew, there seemed to be, very much as Tony's been talking about, a kind of, beneath this, a kind of an anger that had a comedic grin to it. It was carved into a sort of satiric grin at the follies of the world, but with a genuine sense of the corruptions that surrounded things and a way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
How did that reflect in how he struck you at that time? And your own practice and David Rees's as sort of partners in crime.
Yeah, I mean David Seabrook. What to say about him really? I mean I'll tell the anecdote about the piece that you read from the very beginning of the book. He was. In 1980, we were having discussions with David, or rather he was talking at us, and it was just another version of that particular story that happened at the very beginning of All the Devils Are Here. And it was almost like he was on a kind of automatic pilot, and he was on this automatic pilot for 25 years. And so one evening when I came home, very late at night and put the TV on, there he was in the shelter on the seafront there with Iain Sinclair. And I hadn't seen David Seabrook for 20 years at this point, so it was a kind of I would say it's an out-of-body experience. But
what's very weird about it was I looked at that footage again the other day and realised that what he was saying was actually word for word what's in the book.
Yes.
So it's as if when he was in the bus shelter looking at the way Eliot was watching people scavenging for coins on the beach, he had somehow scavenged this text. He found it.
Yeah.
And he committed it to memory, walking up and down like a character in Fahrenheit 451, sort of memorise the whole book.
Yeah.
So he wrote it as a text that you'd heard.
Yeah.
You heard him rehearsing it.
Yeah.
He published it in the book as a text, and he delivered it off the cuff, absolutely as if he was just extracting stuff from his head.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, he's almost like a character from Eliot. He's almost like one of the Hollow Men, because it's like he had this text imprinted in his mind, and if you press the right button, metaphorically, on David, then you would get that text. That would be the text on Wasteland. That would be the text on T.S. Eliot.
But are these texts connected to place in a very specific way? Because it's almost to me as if there are certain tripwires you go over, and this releases something. Because when Eliot was writing that, there is a report that he's into a sort of reverie-like state where he's not self-criticizing. He's just letting this stuff rip. Obviously, Pound looks at it with a harsh eye and pulls chunks out.
Yeah.
But there's something here allows him to access this strange song inside his head.
Yeah.
And even the punctuation is weird. And I think with Seabrook, it felt to me like he was possessed by something, and he knew that if he pushed a bit harder, he would get to see Lord Haw-Haw's whatever. There were always stories and conspiracies that were just out of reach.
Well, I mean, if you look at the rest of that book, you find that he's creating a whole mythology out of real people and real events around Kent. So Kent becomes this kind of mythological. Yeah, it's a very peculiar sort of.
Well, it seemed from the book that Kent is somewhere people came at the end of their tether in one way or another.
Yeah.
And generally, if you're Charles Hawtrey, you're discovered sort of smoking naked in bed, setting your house on fire.
Yeah.
And other characters with dubious Nazi past drift to hide away. Eliot has a moment of crisis. Everybody is in crisis.
Richard Dad is
Richard Dad
murdered his
comes back
father.
especially to kill his father.